Thank you.
Let's call to order the Board of Works meeting for October 20th, 2025. Paul, can you take a roll?
Mayor John Yeargren.
Here.
Brad Dreyer. Here. Bill Hartman.
Here. Thank you, Paul. You received copies of your minutes from the September 8th meeting. Have you both had a chance to review those?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions or any changes?
No, sir.
If not, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve last month's meeting.
We have a motion to approve the meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We have no items that are old business tonight for the Board of Works, so we will move to the two items of new business that we have. The first being a road closure request for Kids Discovery Factory for their groundbreaking ceremony on October 23rd. That is this coming Thursday, just in the afternoon for a 4 to 7. Did either of you have questions about that or any concerns? It's going to be a civic wall right behind the building. I think we had a few guests in from out of town, but if there are no questions or concerns, motion to approve that request.
I'll make a motion to approve that request for the Kids Discovery Factory.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the road closure request for Kids Discovery Factory. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item up is we have listed here as the Hillendale infrastructure request. And this is basically for us to accept, I believe it's Aspen and Burr Oak for a drive into our inventory of city streets. I think you had a chance to review that. John, do you have any comments on that? I mean, you've looked at everything out there.
Yeah, they thought a couple months ago they paved the asphalt surface out there. I mean, I guess while it's sanitary, it's been in use for 8 years now, so there's very no reason to accept that. Asphalt looks good. I believe they replaced a few sections of coal last year, I was told. Everything looks good now, so it should be good to accept.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Bill?
No, sir. Johnny's on it. I'm good with it.
So John, as far as new subdivisions that are concerned, I kind of brought that question up. What exactly is the guidelines as far as when we accept the streets, or are there guidelines on when we accept the streets or not?
I looked into it a little bit, and there's a little bit of discrepancy. The EPO says the asphalt surface should be delayed a year. The construction standard says we should accept it when 80% of the houses are done. So we've always accepted when we put the surface on. We've been doing it when 80% of the houses are done. 80% of the lots are sold out there, not all of them have houses on them, some of them won't. Some of them are forced to buy 2 or 3 together, and they're not going to have a house on some of them. So it's 80% of the lots are sold.
So we really don't have a clear definition of when we accept it. It's been 80%. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if that's something I'm okay with this one, but it's like, do we need to establish something a little specific or look at that? I don't know.
But we probably look at the asphalt surface. I don't mind waiting 8 years for that on. I really this time. It's, we might need to look at that.
I don't have an objection if we look at it from my perspective. My preference is that we would do it because we're already taking care of the sewers, the water, gas, and honestly, to be just brutally blunt, in the winter when the snow flies and the developer hasn't gotten to plowing the road as quickly as maybe our guys have. I would prefer to have our guys just take care of it rather than.
And I would agree. I mean, I would agree with that. And yeah, we certainly don't want to leave those people out in the, yeah, where they're going to take care of that themselves.
I think the Johnson point probably should look at our uniform standards, but in this case.
Yeah, like I said, I'm okay with it. I'm just wondering if moving forward, if maybe look at, just see if we establish some kind of standards, one way or the other, or you know, how we view that.
There's no further discussion. Could I have a motion to approve this request?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the infrastructure request to accept Aspen Brook Drives. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. That is all we have on our Board of Works agenda tonight. You had anything that needs to be discussed? In that case, I will ask them for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our meeting is adjourned. We will start the city council meeting in 5 minutes.
Sign that somewhere else.
Who does the WRBI TVs? Who does your broadcast? I was telling them about the WRBI TV building and watching football games on Facebook.
You guys sign all those other four. Two of the other ones, yeah. Your vote? Here's your big pen. That's right, no, you missed the page. Did it get switched? I didn't even look at it today. Attorney General, what? I don't want to be Attorney General. I unplugged that. I didn't know if that had anything to do, but it didn't. No, it's still bouncing. Dude, look at this, it's up in the red right now. We don't even have any of our microphones on. Those microphones go on. If you go here, and you go to advanced, and you go to meters, man, the mics aren't that terrible. I don't know what's going on. Well, that's getting according to this, we shouldn't even have to turn these on. Well, I think that I think we need to find out what's going on with did somebody get in there and turn those things up, because remember how they weren't really working at all. But if they did, how did they do it? Because we can't figure out how they did it. There's no, you can't do anything with this. And the other microphones, you got to sound in, but it's not on there. And the council mics, nope, I tried. Those are the PC and the click share. Those aren't. We're good.
To wait for it to get started. And so that's the other part of that problem.
Almost. Start whatever these guys are doing.
But when is that bond is when they first start, right? It's 3 years. So it's 3 years after.
He just does. To me, that's how you do it. He's not good.
Okay. Okay. So the main part starts now.
Hey, before you guys leave, make sure you sign these resolutions and stuff, because these are the ones for budget. You actually have to sign them, because I got to turn them in tomorrow. I got to send them up to the state. I always screwed them up. We screwed them all up by waiving anyway, by the way. It almost gave me mine. Yeah, I know she was able to. You're saved. All right, let's start. Yeah.
Let's call tonight's city council meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take a roll, please.
Okay, Derek Cox. Here. Brad Dreyer.
Here.
Beth King. Doug Stock.
Here.
Melissa Tucker.
Here.
Thank you all. You all received copies of last month's minutes. I'm assuming you all had a chance to review those. Were there any changes or corrections? Could I have a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second to approve the minutes?
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the September 8th minutes say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Thank you. Department head reports are made available at the back of the where you came in the building or in the chambers. Or maybe a few of our department heads here, and then we have questions about that, about the department head reports. Okay, we will move on. I don't see any mayor and chief council members here tonight. So we will move on. Under old business, this evening we have nothing. So we will go on to new business, and on the new business, we have 4 agenda items. The first item is resolution number 7-2025, appropriation reductions. Paul, do you want to?
Sure. We'll tie the first one on this at number 8, and also these both have to do with the 2026 constant one utility budget, which is due by the end of the month. We had the public meeting on September 24th, I think it was. We discussed how the budget is set up and what's going on with it. There is some situations with the amount of money we're going to receive from the state this coming year based on the fact that the new state laws that were passed, so the new state, I forget what it's called, State Law Act 1, is going to cause more people to go, it's called into the cap situation, which is going to affect the amount of money that cities and counties get. So while we're raising the dollars that we need to hit that, we're going to lose a lot of dollars based on this compared to this year. This year we had about an effect on property tax caps of about $45,000 roughly. Next year, it's estimated to be close to 320,000 because of that, because of more people hitting the caps. So we're going to have to deal with less money coming in, and obviously expenses are not sitting still and being zero. So we're going to have, there's going to have to be some things for next year that are going to have to be looked at pretty heavily to make sure we can cover. One of the things we do every year is we have our appropriation reductions for the funds that we did not use this year, that we need to reduce this year so that we can use them next year. There's two funds, the rainy day fund and the CCIF, which is a cumulative capital infrastructure tax fund. Both of those I'm reducing, one by $400,000, the other one by $100,000. We will not use those monies this year, so I need approval to get those reduced, and then they will be able to be used in next year's budget. And so that's what appropriation, that's what resolution 7-2025 is. And we'll talk about 8 right away, we can do them individually then as far as votes. 8 basically, the next one is just the resolution for the appropriation for tax rates for 2026. The dollars, as I mentioned, we are asking for more dollars. It will be a slight raise in the tax rate itself for the city of Batesville from basically about 68 cents a hundred to 69 cents. It's going to go up about a penny. I want to make sure everybody understands, just because your appropriated value would go up, let's say 10%, doesn't necessarily mean your taxes go up 10%. It has to do with the amount of money that everybody's valued at in the city. That's the division that happens. It's good to have growth. That's why a lot of the money, we had almost an 8% increase in what they call the appropriated values throughout the city. Some of that was due to reevaluations possibly, but a lot of it was due to growth. So if you have an empty lot sitting there and the next year you got a $400,000 house, obviously that's a lot more taxable revenue now, that's a taxable value that can be put through the system. That helps reduce the rates. So we had an 8% increase almost in our values. We're only going to have about a 1% increase in the tax rate itself. So, and that's just the city part. When you get your tax rates for next year, your taxes, depending on your county, if you're in Ripley or Franklin, part of it is the school, obviously, is a big part. The city's another part, the county, it goes down to these pieces. So all we can control is the city part of that tax. So there may be other parts that go up or down depending on what they're doing. So that's what this resolution 8 is. And again, once you get this signed and get them in, then they will go into the gateway system by this week, and then we'll hopefully get an approval by the end of the year. So I don't know if you want to go through the format. We need to go through the actual voting. If there's any questions from council or anybody on these issues.
So with the appropriation, putting the money back, basically $500,000.
Yeah, it reduces this year's budget by that amount. So next month, when I put the numbers out for October, for October, it'll show a reduction of $500,000
Right.
for those two pieces.
So with this money, were there projects that we had intended to do this year that we didn't do? So is this committed money, or is this
No, it's not
money that's
It's money that it's easier to commit the money or put it into the fund in case something comes up. And then if you don't use it to take it back than it is to not do it, then you need to go through the additional appropriation. It's a lot harder to do. So it's been something we've done every year, and I believe every year we've done a reduction on a couple of the funds.
So just looking forward, this can make up maybe some shortfall for next year? Is that
Only
right?
if you want to use rainy day funds for that, and we hate to do that.
Okay.
I mean that's what it's for. Hopefully this doesn't qualify for a rainy day situation, but you never know.
Okay.
I'm more worried about the following year.
27 could be, yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I will ask for a motion to approve resolution 7-2025, the appropriations reduction.
I'll make a motion.
Motion second.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving resolution 07-2025, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Obviously, the next item up is resolution 8/2025, which was the appropriation of tax rates for the 2026 year. We were all in attendance at that meeting, so are there any other questions for Paul?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 8, 2005.
2025?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Holy, it's been a long time, yes.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 8/2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The motion carries.
Thank you. Yeah, when we're done, I mentioned that we need each of the council people to sign those 2 resolutions before you leave. Thanks. And you too.
Next item up tonight is ordinance number 4/2025. It's an amendment to our traffic code. This issue was brought to our attention last month, and it involves the intersection of Pullman Street and Delaware Road. A gentleman expressed some concern about the ability to cross the road as a pedestrian or a biker, and had asked for us to consider a 4-way stop there. Right now, the stop is on Pullman Street. We did review it. John was the engineer, and I talked about it. And we brought that resolution for us tonight. This is just a first reading. Does council have any questions?
So, was there any other options that we looked at besides putting a stop sign, as far as like maybe using flashing pedestrian lights like we have by the school on 129? And I know people say they don't use, there's cars don't stop on 129, but that is a highway. There's a little difference in speed too.
Doesn't mean they're not supposed to stop.
Well, I know. But
No, I did not, because a stop sign is cheaper than an electronic flash.
because
So,
I'm just kind of looking at some other places where the trails cross, like over by Brumwoods, Cuban Hunters Road, and the Flex there. And I almost think putting those flashing pedestrian lights in each of those spots would be a good idea.
fair.
Because if we go put the stop sign there, then next meeting somebody comes and asks for a stop sign at Cuban Hunters, we've got to put one there now.
We don't have to.
No, we don't have to, but you set precedent, kind of, that it was just an idea that I came up with. So.
So what you're saying in here is the 4-way stop. Coming out of the Plex, going into the Plex.
Just
Stop sign there, but
just a Delaware.
Okay.
we would be adding a stop sign there, and then we have some folks in the audience who I had a chance to speak with, who had some concerns, who you like, Tracy, do you have some comments you'd like to make?
Question before I get going. Was there, I understand there was this one request for that, is that?
Yeah, so there was one gentleman who came to the meeting and made a request.
So, it makes notes and validates my notes, so, could you be members of the council, Mayor Irving, Supervisor Gates, Honorable Mr. Timonero. My name is Tracy Rolfe. That doesn't be and I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight about the proposed installation of a 4-way stop at Delaware and Pullman. First, I want to make it clear to the council and everyone in this room that I think we all share the same goal, and that is of keeping our roads and our neighborhoods safe. Everybody will agree with that. But effective decisions should be guided by data and evidence, not by isolated concerns or assumptions. At this intersection, facts are straightforward. did consult with the police department on this for some of these facts. In the past 5 years, there have been 2 reported accidents, neither involving injuries. That's a remarkable low number, especially compared to other intersections that experience higher traffic volumes and more frequent collisions. By every standard measure, this is a safe and functional intersection. The proposal for a 4-way stop stems from one request, not from a pattern of complaints, not from the police department recommendation, and not from traffic studies showing a problem. While every resident's voice is important, public policy should reflect the greater good and the actual safety data, not just one person's perception. It is also worth noting that 4-way stops are not designed to control speed or convenience. And we went through this, members of council, when I was on council, office, Superior Bay. According to the Federal Highway Administration guidelines, and you'll remember this, stop signs should not be installed when traffic volumes and crash data clearly warrant them or unnecessary stop signs can actually create new risks, and this is from the Federal Highway Administration. So they can create new risks such as drivers going through intersections, rear-end collisions, and confusions about timing. So based on the facts, this intersection does not meet the criteria for a 4-way stop, and adding one would make the community safer. It would simply slow traffic, waste resources, set the full precedent for making traffic decisions without evidence. I remind the 2 council members that I was on and for the 3 that were not on, about 5 years ago, the city council removed 6 stop signs in the city in order to improve traffic flow. And much of that was done at Kevin Shakey. Kevin Shakey was a council member, and he did a lot of research on that, and that's where I got the Highway Administration guidelines. And so, Councilman Shakey was very instrumental in determining, in my opinion, that we improved the traffic flow in the city. So with all that said, I respectfully urge the council to rely on the data, maintain the current configuration, and reserve 4-way stops for intersections where there is this demonstrated safety concern. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tracy. Again, this is our first reading tonight. We will consider this issue a final vote next month.
I want to speak as a citizen, not as a clerk treasurer.
My apologies.
That's okay. I think a lot has changed in that area over the years, Tracy, we all know. At one time, Delaware Road went through there, Pullman didn't even go through. So there's the Plexus Road, the soccer fields road. Now you have a whole skate park and all that out there that's new for the last few years. And we have the trail. Liberty Park's right next door. There's a whole lot of people and things that go through there. Yeah, at certain times you can look and there's not a car in sight, there's not a person in sight. But my feeling is, if you ever been out there when baseball gets out, or soccer games get over, or there's a nice day and people are riding bikes through there, it is not very safe when somebody's going down Delaware and they're not going 35 miles an hour. It's not like the street over by Broden Woods where it's a little quieter on Mulberry. It's different. It isn't about speed that I want the stop sign put in there. It's because I think it's a safer way to make sure that people don't have a problem. I don't want to wait till there is a statistic that says we need a stop sign there. I think that you kind of look at it and say, that area is not the same as it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And that's why I think, and I go through there a lot with the bike, and I go through there walking, and I've been over there for soccer and all that. There's a lot of people over there, and there's a lot of kids over there, and they're on skateboards and they're on bikes and stuff. I'd hate to see somebody not see something and go through there. I don't think putting a stop sign there is a waste or a real problem for people that are on Delaware Road. It's one stop, but that one stop can make a big difference when there's kids running around through there. That's how I feel about it. Thanks. Yeah.
So I go through that intersection during the school year at least 4 times a day. I drive a bus, go to the bus barn, and I go home. And after I go to the bus barn, and I go home. I go home to the Y every day. So I go through that at least 4 times a day. Your argument would be made for every intersection that there's not a stop sign.
No, I don't
Let's
think
make it, hold on, I didn't talk when you were talking. So let
so. I
me
thought
finish.
you'd want some dialogue.
So, I feel that if you want a stop sign there, how about put one at Cooners?
Cooners doesn't have the skate park right next to it, and a lot of people.
Respectfully request that I finish.
Okay,
And then
that's
you
fine.
can
That's fine.
talk. Intersections up, down at the old park that we removed. The argument could be made at every intersection that's not a four-way stop. We better do something before something happens. Ultimately, I'm not
Tracy, can I
sure.
comment? One thing that I heard when you made your presentation was about traffic flow of cars. I think what Paul is saying, and what I tend to agree with, is the concern for the pedestrians and the bicyclists. And you didn't need to sit down if you saw them, as well as the cars that utilize the intersection. So, you know, I don't just. Go ahead.
That's good.
I'm Bill American. I live across from Tracy. We're a quarter mile south of it. I walk twice a day, every day, up Delaware through that intersection. Paul's got some valid questions. I would like, before we would do a stop sign, a four-way stop, I would like to see both sides of the pole, both stop sign, just stating that cross traffic does not stop. Okay. That would be my choice before a stop sign. I'm not saying that isn't down the road. That's opposed to stop. But I think there's other things we can possibly do to make it safe.
I don't think anybody's confused on Pullman that the traffic on Delaware doesn't stop.
Yes, they are, sir.
You think that they actually think that they don't have to stop?
I'm through there a lot, and yes, people, and I'm slowing down, and they're shooting down, because they're thinking I'm slowing down for
Okay.
pedestrians, and they're thinking I'm gonna stop, and
Well, that, you just make a good point, maybe why you should stop then.
I'm saying,
Just, and you mentioned, somebody else mentioned about the possibility of lights and stuff. The lights at 129, I go through there a lot. It's unfortunately, people just don't think that they need to stop. I don't know why, I was there Saturday, we had one bike tire on the road, the one person stopped coming north, the one person went south, they're not even looking. 3 cars in a row went right past. A runner looked at me and we looked at each other and went, don't even bother. I mean, you don't want to take a chance. I don't think that's the answer to everything. I really don't think that every stop sign, the city needs a stop sign every single place, Tracy. I'm saying I think there's a very unique situation down here with the number of cars, the number of kids, the number of bikes. We put a bike path through there, we put a sports complex in there. I think it's different, that's all.
Tracy.
No, sir. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, I appreciate Tracy with the information, but I think it's different, and I don't know the history of, when we officially opened up the trails. But I do think, you guys commented, you go through there, you bill 3 or 4 times a day, Tracy 3 or 4 times a day, but that's during school hours. What about on the weekends, and when all that soccer and all the baseball and all that kind of stuff is going on? And that's that would be my concern. Now, my other concern is how do we, if we decide to go forward with stop signs, how do we make stop signs available that's gonna be a big change. And so, obviously, we've made a big change on 46 and the high school that we're making progress with now. But how do we warn people that they gotta stop there? So that would be a concern I have, but it's just a challenge. I don't know how we make more information, to get more information out to the public that's becoming a four-way stop. But that's my bigger concern. Like I said, I appreciate your all's thoughts, but again, the thoughts of soccer practice, baseball practice, and the other things that go on up there. I think, I guess I would like to look at it a little bit closer, but I think a four-way stop would still be appropriate there.
So for me, Tracy, I don't know if you guys have been in there. I have grandchildren there over the summer, and it's hard to get in and out of that area. I think probably it would be nice if we could send to the boards of the baseball, the soccer, and see if maybe parents, but I don't know if we have enough time to do that, to get some input on that. But I do know when in full summer, it is very, very busy. We're just trying to be protective of everyone, as you guys said, and maybe that would help. I don't know if people know to give their input with that stop sign, and at these meetings, but I do know that it's extremely busy, particularly in the summer and after school and skateboards, and there have been incidents even with me coming in and out and driving around that I wanted to make sure that I slowed down, but not everybody does. So I'm not saying that definitely needs to be a four-way, but I think maybe there needs to be a little bit more input this next week or two, and we can bring it back.
Well, it will come back. It will come back for a final reading next month.
So maybe I can get some data then from some of the teams and things like
One
that.
last thing I'd like for you to think about, and this is a wide saying or whatever. What I see here is a solution looking for a problem.
Thanks, Chris.
Mike, do you have any thoughts with it as far as one way or the other?
I mean, on our side of it, we run traffic through there, we don't have crazy numbers of people flying down the road and reported on, but we're also not there at all times. Like Tracy stated, the accidents, we've only had 2 in the past 5 years. But again, beyond there are a lot of foot traffic and there's a lot of people that go through there. There's also a lot of people that don't stop at crosswalks and will shoot across. And below the stop signs on bicycles and stuff like that, which I know recently in the last week or so we've addressed with multiple different people in the community on bicycles not stopping at stop signs, and also the electric scooters with kids shooting through intersections as well. So that's a concern. It's both sides of the concern. It's not so much just one, the cars coming down the road, but also the people that go to the crosswalk and yes, believe they have a right of way and just go out there without making sure that vehicles are stopping before they go across.
And my wife isn't going to like me to say this publicly, but she was one of those who got pulled over on her bike. And actually, I was talking to one of our police officers about a different matter when she got home, and she didn't realize it wasn't the officer that pulled her over and said he already beat me here. And I didn't know what she was talking about. She kind of gave me an earful when I got in the house, but anyway. Again, tonight's reading is just the first reading. So it will come up again next month for a final reading, for approval or not. Thank you. Next item up, we have a Belterra funds request. I think Amy Streeter from Brooklyn County Community Foundation and Jonathan Maple from our Community Health here to present.
Yes, good evening. Thank you very much for giving us a few minutes of your time this evening as you guys review and consider a request for $15,000 from the Belterra funds that you have. Again, for those in the audience that don't know me, my name is Amy Streeter. I am the Executive Director of the Ripley County Community Foundation, and with me is my colleague Jonathan Nagel with the Margaret Mary Health Foundation. So to give a quick overview, earlier this year, the Community Foundation was contacted about a program that serves the tri-state area called Project Heart Restart. And Christ Hospital would like to bring Project Heart Restart to Ripley County. They have a partnership with Margaret Mary Health, which is why Margaret Mary Health is a partner with me here this evening. The whole premise of that Project Heart Restart program is to provide AED machines in public places, public buildings, as well as one arm function is also to make sure that law enforcement officers have access to AED machines in their police cruisers. So they approached me to see if they would like to serve the entire Ripley and Franklin counties by providing each officer or each police cruiser that serves Ripley County and Franklin counties with an AED machine. I am here this evening just to talk to you about Ripley County. I don't have a lot of data about Franklin County, but I'm happy to answer any questions that I know. But here in Ripley County, I learned that there are 46 police cruisers serving Ripley County as a whole. 13 of those, I believe, are for the city of Batesville, or is it 14? It's 13. Yep, 14. Serve the city of Batesville. No police cruiser has an AED machine in it currently. And in my conversations with not just Chief Manis, but around the county, it is my understanding that the police officers, for the most part, would find a lot of value in having access to an AED machine. So when I talked with Christ Hospital, their reason for supporting Project Heart Restart is basically threefold. First is that cardiac arrests occur, and there is a low survival rate for cardiac arrests that happen in the Christ Hospital service area, which does also include Ripley County and Batesville in particular. The second thing is that CPR, yes, there are people who know CPR. There are a lot of bystanders who are not either comfortable to provide CPR when it might require it, or there's bystanders who don't know CPR and can't provide it. And then also, there are AED machines in a lot of public places, but many people don't know where they are when the crisis occurs, or even if you're someplace, I think like even Chief Manis indicated that several of his officers will coach little leagues or sports, I should say, youth sports. And even though the complex or the plex might have an AED machine, it's up in the building and it's not readily available, where if it was in the police cruiser, it might be more accessible. So that's the purpose of the premise behind Project Heart Restart. When I had a conversation with Chief Manis about whether or not he would be interested, he said yes. When I asked him why they don't have them, he said it's a simple cost issue, and it's expensive to purchase an AED machine. It's also expensive to replace them and or to maintain them, to provide a battery and or to provide replacement pads for those items. And I just want to say I apologize. I think when I wrote my proposal to you, maybe it was a little confusing, so I just want to make it clear. So to provide an AED machine to the entire county, that would be 46 cars, that would cost $71,786.22. That is at a reduced rate, thanks to Margaret Mary Health's ability to buy in bulk, and with some support from Christ Hospital, that $71,786 is at a discount. Of that $71,000, it would cost $21,847 just to provide AED machines for the city of Batesville. So the request for Belterra is to ask for $15,000. It's my understanding that's the maximum amount that I can ask for, to help cover the cost to provide those AED machines to the city of Batesville. Any and all funding that we would receive from the city of Batesville for Belterra funding would be used and stay in the city of Batesville. Since I had to turn this in about a month ago, and since then some other things have transpired. So one of those being that the Ripley County Community Foundation does plan to put some money towards this project as well. After talking to Chief Manis and other town marshals across Ripley County and the sheriff, they would really like to make sure there's some sort of sustainability effort in place. So the Ripley County Community Foundation would like to create an endowment fund to help sustain this, to provide the pads if they need them and/or a battery replacement. Also, I have talked to the county, waiting on a response from them. I am actively working with the health department and have put in a request to the health department. After I spoke to the health department, it became clear to me that the health department in both Ripley and Franklin counties has an AED initiative that they have started where they've been putting AED machines into public buildings and schools. As a part of that, they use a machine called, that's a product called the Zoll AED3. And it's kind of funny because that is also the same machine that was requested or recommended, is what I should say, to us by Christ Hospital as well. So if we are asking to purchase Zoll AED3s, talking with the fire chief, it is my understanding that the fire department does not use that brand. They use another brand called Stryker. We looked into Stryker. We could purchase them, but it's going to be more expensive because we wouldn't be buying them in bulk and we can't get them through Christ Hospital, so we can't get them. After talking with both Chief Manis and the fire chief, it's my understanding that they both understand that, and that if we do go forward with this, that the Zoll AED machine is perfectly good and it's a good machine and they can work with it. So we are here this evening to ask for $15,000 to help with this AED initiative.
And just should note that the Christ Hospital and Martin Marion Health both are putting money towards this initiative and fully are committed to this.
Yeah, so we have a commitment from Christ Hospital, minimum of $30,000 that will stay in Ripley County to help cover this, this initiative. The Ripley County Community Foundation has agreed to purchase all of the AED machines that would be needed for the city of Batesville, even though half of the city of Batesville is in Franklin County. The Franklin County Community Foundation basically asked if we would take that on, and we agreed that we would to make sure that we could serve the entire county and city. I have some other requests, applications in as well. I'm waiting to hear back on those from the town of Osgood. The Reynolds Foundation submitted an application to Firehouse Subs. All of those just waiting on responses. So I am happy to answer any questions. And please, Chief Manis, if there's any, if I failed to say something, please make sure you correct me. Same with you.
Well, thank you, first and foremost, for the presentation. Obviously, AED save lives. It's been something that's been pushed at us when I was at the schools forever, getting those in there and access to it. And honestly, this just enhances the safety of the people of the city of Batesville. It's something that is probably long overdue, and I'm adamantly in support of, and I'll make a motion to approve $15,000 for the purchase of AEDs as presented.
Amy, have you talked to Doug Meyer? I don't know if you're familiar with. So we know they do a golf thing every year, and I think part of what they try to do is, don't they have these in, is it public settings that they've placed some of these around?
Yes, I have spoken with Mr. Meyer, and this is my understanding of it currently, that their current focus is to provide the heart screenings in all of the schools. That in the past, they have had a pretty robust program that would provide an AED machine to local nonprofits. I don't know if that only went into public buildings. I just don't know the answer to that. That has not really been their focus lately. But yes, I have had a conversation with him. There's no funds currently available to help pay for an AED machine.
That from them. Yeah, that's for some reason, because I get his information, and I thought they've placed it. So you're saying recently they have a purchase any of those all recently?
Yeah, and I don't know what he meant by recently. Okay, but it's my understanding that most of their dollars are going to
the heart screening. Yes. Okay. I just wondered if we could figure out a way to kind of bring it together.
Yeah.
with what he's doing, because his is just totally, Doug had a heart issue a long time ago, I think, and they just started that, and I think it's a great thing that they do the screening and try to generate money. I don't know what they raise at the golf outing, but they get a pretty good group of people out there at the golf outing.
It's a great program.
Yeah.
It's just my understanding that at this point in time, they don't have the funds for the each.
Okay. And so it looks like you're about 26,000 short right now. And so you've got some of the stuff. Will you move forward with this once you get all the money, or are you going to move forward after you get the committed funds? Or
we're going to move forward and to get the reduced rate, and also to make sure we leverage the grant from Christ Hospital. We got to have this done by the end of the year. We have to get these purchased, so we will purchase machines before the end of the year. We have to be able to purchase something like 35 machines in order to get the discounted rate at the current rate that we have.
And I know that I talked to you guys prior, and I just wanted that clarification of if we would approve this, that it does go to the city of Batesville.
Yes.
The 14 police cars and stuff. So thank you for that presentation and clarifying that before we made our decision. Yep, that's fine. I was just making sure I was reading it right. So, and then I also saw that where you're trying to build an endowment, so it looks like there's a 5-year lifespan on a lot of these pads and batteries and stuff. So that would help hopefully offset that when they do need to be replaced. Correct?
That's correct. So the Zoll AED comes with a 5-year full warranty, which means that even if the machine is damaged, the only thing they won't replace is if the machine is submerged completely underwater. But other than that, they will cover and replace everything. They'll either give you a new machine, a new battery. Pads, if they don't get used, and we hope they won't be used, those they'll replace free for the next 5 years. If they do use the pad, then obviously we have to purchase new pads and replacements. And so it's my understanding from the health department, although I have to go to a meeting in front of them in a couple of weeks, that they currently have a program that they will provide replacement pads for the Zoll AED3 machine.
So for me, I would make a motion, the second, I guess, to accept the amount of $15,000 from the Belterra funds to go to the AED initiative. So, that's a second, yeah.
Motion. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the request for $50,000 toward the AED purchase. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next item is the clerk treasurer's report.
Just the year-to-date through September numbers are in the packet as usual. The budget that's now been approved will be submitted this week into the system, and like I said, we will work on getting that. The idea is to get that in so that we get an answer before the end of the year that they approve it. The state's gotten a lot better in the last couple of years of getting that information out pretty quick, so I expect that to be approved before the end of the year. That's all. All we do need the claims, approval of the claims.
Yeah, so I will ask for a motion to approve the claims.
Make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
second the motion.
We have a motion and a second for the approval of claims tonight. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The next item, okay, some people speak up about stop signs, traffic flow. Do we have any other citizens that would like to address council?
Good evening. Quite a few people in this room already know me, but for the record, and Darren. I'll start with my standard disclosure. I am not a Batesville resident. I live just outside the city limits. But that never seems to count against me when I come into Batesville to spend my money for that engaged and go over there, buildings and other places, or when I come into the city to engage in volunteer work. Also, a disclaimer, I'm speaking tonight on my own behalf, not on behalf of any organization I might be affiliated with. I'm speaking tonight because, Mr. Mayor, I think it's important to give public voice to the topic in my letters to you of September 26th and October 1st, both of which I believe were identical or essentially identical.
That's correct.
My grievance, I have a grievance tonight, and that is that when there is a call to lower the United States flag, usually in response to some unhappy event, the response in Batesville is puzzling and troubling, largely because of the practice at the Batesville Volunteer Fire Department, which practice seems to be curiously selective. The flag at the Batesville Volunteer Fire Department did not come down in response to mass shootings, in response to 1 million COVID deaths, in response to the death of Secretary of State and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Colin Powell, in response to the death of State Police Officer Aaron Smith, killed in the line of duty. But it did come down readily and completely in response to the death of Charlie Kirk. Mayor, your fire department has put the stamp of approval on Kirk's agenda and beliefs, and by extension has put a stamp of approval, that same stamp of approval, on those beliefs on behalf of the mayor's office itself and indeed the entire city. What are those beliefs? Kirk was in lockstep with the Christian nationalist movement. He would have you live in a theocracy, a place where the government tells you which God to kneel down and pray to, and you damn well better do it. He said, I think it's worth it to have some gun deaths every single year to protect our God-given rights. That's a prudent deal, he said. Over on my chair, I brought some photos of 7 and 8-year-old children gunned down in their schools. And I'll leave some copies over next to Tom. When you look at the photo, I ask you to look in their eyes, look at the smiles on their faces, and ask yourself if their deaths were really a prudent deal. He said at a women's leadership conference that women should abandon their careers and education and submit to a godly man. And you should raise more children than you can afford. I asked you to someday go over to the Batesville Food Pantry and see what a superb idea that is. So that's what the city of Batesville appears to have given its stamp of approval to. Mayor Ergang, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but if it's not, as I said in my letter, I believe there needs to be an inquiry, an investigation. I believe that inquiry has to have a heavy dose of public transparency, and I think the citizens of Batesville and surrounding communities deserve an explanation, a solid explanation, not a basket full of excuses and rationalizations. Good evening.
I'm just going to comment briefly. Thank you, Ken. understanding that our flags are lowered at half-staff in those events, either at the direction of the president or at the direction of the governor. Now, the city attorney sitting to my left, I can't speak if that's dictated by code or custom. But we'll look into it. That's typically what we follow. A personal opinion, I think it's tragic when anyone is, an innocent child is murdered by someone suffering a mental health issue or whatever the term be, or a person like Charlie Kirk who is executed for his belief. In both cases, those are tragedies. So I will look into it, but I do not plan on formulating a specific city policy. I would encourage everyone to mourn a victim in their own way. And that's what I try to do. And I would just encourage everyone else to do that as well. Yes, ma'am. Would you step up to the mic, please?
George Sherman. I think it's a solid point. Kirk literally said that the civil rights movement was a mistake, and an 8-year-old black boy walked up to him and asked him about that, and said, "That means I wouldn't be here." And Kirk looked at him and said, "Exactly," and turned around and walked away. I mean, personally, sure, lower your flag if that's what you want to do, but for the whole city, they're representing the city. The same with City Hall and the same as the police department. And for that to be the stamp on approval on that, but not for even the Democratic leaders that were assassinated in their homes, Jimmy Carter, there's plenty of other examples that I can understand if the citywide was doing that, but there should be some sort of standard that a podcaster, is this someone that they're putting a stamp of approval on, as opposed to former presidents or other victims of violence? I mean, I would think that 10 children being murdered would be far more significant of a moment for a flag to be lowered than one podcaster. So, I mean, I think he has a very valid point. I think that should be investigated, and there should be a standard that not just, I mean, personally, if you want to lower your flag, super, because you're talking about everybody grieving in their own way, but that's not the case. When you're talking about a business that represents or a public service that our tax dollars are paying for, having that being represented and they're putting their stamp on that just seems really questionable at the very least. And who they decided to choose was unfortunate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Economic President as well. I think these last two speakers made it clear that all departments in the city should be the same, should stand up for that full mask or half mask.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tracy.
A couple of years ago, right?
You gotta get up. We can hear you. Sorry.
As I was getting on council, there was like a movement to stream council meetings. What is this? status?
You are being streamed right now, live.
So,
But state laws changed on July 1st that we had to start streaming all of our public meetings in this room, which is all our public meetings. So you are being streamed right now.
so the one, how would,
It was presented, I believe, Andrea, somewhere, or it was presented where it's out on the YouTube channel. If not, Andrea, we'll get that information out again if people haven't heard it, but it's not there.
Go to the website on the bottom right hand side, there's a YouTube link that right under your cross, right? Right on that. It's on the left. Okay. YouTube link, click on that, takes you where it's at.
Hi, my name is Daniel Raftery. I just wanted to say that fundamentally agree with Ken's point. I did just some cursory research to answer the idea that you made earlier. The death of Jimmy Carter, there's an edict signed by President Eisenhower that says that for 30 days after the death of the city, the former president, flag should be displayed at half-mast. At the beginning of the year, it became a political issue because that encompassed the day that Donald Trump was inaugurated. He was upset about this. I don't think that, I think I can kind of speak for everybody. I don't know if Batesville really needs to be a battlefield for national politics. I don't really think we can against that. I do think that it's far be it for me to cast sort of aspersions from the fire department for contributions to the community. I think that it should be selectively observed, I should say, when the flag is at half staff and it's at full staff. That's all it is.
Thank you. Clerk.
Jackie Brown here, also a Batesville citizen. I have a similar, I have the same concern, but a slightly different perspective, which is I don't have a problem with the flag being lowered for Charlie Kirk because that was what the White House, the president, said to do. I'm much more concerned with the times when the White House asks for the flag to be lowered and it's not. So I didn't see the lowering of the flag for Charlie Kirk as a sort of political statement or approval of him because that was something that was decided at the national level, and then we followed along with that. But then if that's what you're doing, you need to apply that evenly. So all of those other times when the flag should have been lowered, that's really what I have a problem with. And I would suggest a type of policy that if the White House said we're going to fly the flag at half-mast, I think they should do that. You should apply that evenly to all situations.
And sometimes it is from a local or state level. There are certain
also
things.
from a local and state level,
Yes.
but there were times when a president said fly the flag at half-mast and it was not. And I think Ken has full information on all of those times, but some of those times, like Democratic leaders being assassinated, I think it's very worrying that it was not lowered at those times.
Thank you. Fair enough, we need consistency. Brian, would you like to speak since you've been run someone?
No way as the flag going up or down that in political. I lose my role to be on site as an education to get as well on the flags. The flag was taken down half staff for a prior event. It didn't get back up after that event, and that is 100% my fault. After I think it was when you received the complaint, around a day or two before that. It's on my mind, I apologize. In no way, shape, or form do I condone in any political subdivision to any party. When this order go up and down, I will do a better job of getting the flag up and down.
Thank you, Ron. Shaking your head, just a crazy. I know. Okay. We will look at making sure we're consistent in the future with with the raising and lowering of the flag. Any other citizens have an item to discuss? Okay.
Good evening, my name is Tracy Diaz. I live at 302 South Park Avenue, right on the alley, where near Grand River Flats. And I am here tonight to ask that the council consider making that alley one way. If not for the, and I'm talking where the entrance and exits on South Park Avenue and Depot Street. There is a new parking lot going on, or being put in, and then my neighbor, whose house caught on fire last month, she's going to be having a lot of house demolition, rebuild. So, and again, it's an alley. It's not a street. One car fits in, going in whichever direction. I have had several close calls. I'm trying to exit my garage that sits at a 45-degree angle as opposed to a 90-degree angle at the alley. And I have been nearly hit several times from cars entering from South Park. So, I don't think anybody else wants to have to deal with that either. But there are some safety issues concerning the alley with the parking lots. There is already congestion sometimes because there are 4 entryways into that block. The primary one being on South Park and Depot Street. And there are the flats being right there. There are a lot of elderly pedestrians, a lot of elderly and disabled pedestrians on their own or walking their animals. And I already mentioned the traffic. So, a possibility, and if it's not the whole way, at least part of it, the part that is closest to South Park Avenue.
The part from Park to the alley that
Yes.
runs behind Depot and Park.
Yes, because prior to which I only recently learned that the entrance to the new parking lot where, and I don't know if this will mean anything, the Bossards lived there for a long time. He never wanted to make that one way because he wanted to be able to get in to park his car. Not, but the entrance to that part of the new parking lot is going to be right there, which I don't get because, somebody flies out of that. Don't hit my fence. You hurt my dog, nothing. But like I said, but there are a lot of pedestrians. There are children that play in the house behind me. There are children that live there. There are other children on that block. People use it a lot, and I just don't want anyone to get hit. And people do speed through there, which is kind of the second part to my proposal, is potential speed bumps. I, again, have been nearly hit trying to exit my garage because people like to use it as a cut through, and it's really to access where you park your vehicles. So, that was and there are animals too that people just contain, and I'm the one that usually ends up having to bury them. Just to ask them for that. But I just want to keep the area safe. And again, my preferred way would be that the exit is on South Park. I've had to, and I'm getting ready to have my house.
So you're talking about traffic being west.
Yes.
From Depot. Okay.
Yes, because I'm watching up, I'm also tired of people driving through my yard when they're trying to turn right into that alley from South Park Avenue. I've placed a big rock there, and from the plat of the survey that's been done. So, it's just my preferred, also the direction when I pull out. I'm going forward. And again, prior to the parking lot, which isn't even finished, the only other person who needs access to that part of the alley is. My neighbor who lives on South Street, formerly the Hoover's house, where the driveway is in the back of the house. That will continue. So that is my proposal.
Okay, we will look into it. John, city engineer, and I will discuss it. And again, that would be something that we would have to, I think, we can amend to the traffic code, but we'll look into it for you. Anyone else? Okay, that would just be me. Currently, we have an unexpected tourist attraction on display at 5 Oaks Lawn and Garden, located on State Road 129, a giant pumpkin carving. The late rock and roll legend Ozzy Osbourne was recently gifted to the business from a farmer who participated in the Operation Pumpkin Festival in Hamilton, Ohio. And I have not seen the picture on Facebook. I have not been out to 5 Oaks. I think you're too late. Uh-oh. Go figure.
I was one of those pedestrians checking it out the other day, and actually my wife was, and I think it's about done. Sorry.
Again, I'm sorry we missed it. I'm glad I did get to see the photo on Facebook. Residents will have an opportunity to receive flu shots without needing to accompany their vehicle, courtesy of Martin Health. On Wednesday, on the following 2 Wednesdays, this coming Wednesday, the 22nd and the 29th, and that will be at our city street department garage from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. For those of you who don't know, the street department garage is located at 514 South John Street. There's no appointment required, but please remember to bring insurance information with you. The FW Post 3183 will host a trunk or treat at their location on Garner Street on Friday, October 31st from 5 to 7 p.m. The American Legion Post number 271 Halloween Parade is also on Friday, October 31st at 6 p.m. And then the citywide trick or treat will follow from 6 to 8 p.m. Beta Sigma Phi Sorority is sponsoring their annual holiday bazaar at the Batesville Primary School from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday, November 2nd. Free admission, dozens of vendors and crafters will fill the school's gym and cafeteria. Be sure to go out. Batesville residents are invited to visit a special veterans clothing exhibit through the month of November at the Batesville Memorial Public Library. The exhibit is presented by Batesville Bookmakers in honor of veterans through the art of quilting. Open house with refreshments will be held Monday, November 10th from 3 to 5 p.m. All are welcome, and that is at the Batesville Public Library. I will ask John to correct me if I'm wrong, but again, since I see lots of posts about when projects are going to be finished, the project currently happening on Walnut Street, where we've got right now the northbound lane is closed. I believe that section is supposed to be completed by, correct me if I'm wrong, John, is it November 21st?
That sounds correct, yeah. The end of November was supposed to be done.
For that section. I did see someone comment that it would be done in 2027. So I just want to dispel that rumor. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they're getting close on the Huntersville Road Bridge. I rode my bike out there a few times in the last couple of weeks. The deck is poor. I happened to catch one of the inspectors out there last week when I rode out there, and I'm holding to it because I've been disappointed too many times, but he alluded to the fact that they would be paving the approaches this week. My guess is it will still be several weeks of finish up, but again, I think they were giving us a completion date of late November. With a little luck, they may be a week or two ahead of schedule. final one I will mention is because I was disappointed on this one last year, and I don't see anyone from Hillendale out here, but the railroad track crossing. My last correspondence with the railroad was last month, at which point the gentleman who last year told me the project would be completed last year, and then they told me it would be done this fall. He did reiterate again, it's on the schedule to be completed this fall.
Is there a thank you address or anything that we can mail them a thank you for being so efficient with that? Like, I get a lot of people that ask.
I would honestly start with us, the United States legislature, because they are the only ones that really have much power, so to speak. With that completes my comments.
I have one more. You brought up the Underground Road overpass. One of the things I've noticed is maybe it's too late to be bringing this up, but with all the big things that go down 46, those big storage buildings or whatever they are, if they're coming down 46 from New Point and they make that left turn to get on there, is there any way we can get in touch with those people if they go down to the Sunman exit and make that left turn there? Because it creates a real problem when they're making that left turn because they can't make it, they got to back up. I mean, I've been stuck in it a couple times, and it seems like I don't know if we can, from a police perspective, encourage, because they're getting police escorts, not from you guys certainly, that we could encourage them to go down to the next turn, but to make that left turn, or is there a reason why they have to turn there?
I understand that's all controlled through the state.
Through ISP or in
Well, I would assume it's not ISP, ISP assists, but they're agencies as well, you're not going to be able to know where to go. That's all controlled through
John, are you familiar with anyone in the city board office that?
I can ask about and see if I can figure it out. But I know, usually, yeah, the state police, they're not talking so much about the tape. We don't get any of those.
And I'm assuming they're getting off there because of the Huntersville Road. They have a wide load, so they're coming down 46. And maybe that's not the right assumption, but it's like I said, it just seems like we're traveling on to Cincinnati. We could encourage them to keep going down 46. We're at the Sunman exit, making a left turn would be a lot easier than when they try to make it up here.
I mean, we're not notifying you.
No, I know. As I said, I know they always get escorts, and I know those guys are probably off duty when they're doing it, and they're just following directions. But maybe we could talk to somebody.
John, if you'll reach out to him, I'll see if we can get any kind of answer on that. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, that concludes our agenda for tonight. I'd just like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The meeting's adjourned.